Why was Josh not one of the groomsmen?
Let me explain. There was just some health complications for him that ended up happening, and it just wasn't able to work out.
What happened to Josh? Because no matter how polished Kass's family channel looks on the surface, fans are starting to notice the cracks, the forced smiles, the awkward silence, the missing husband, and now it's not just speculation. It's a slow unraveling, and we're watching it in real time. For the last few months, Kass has been posting video after video, baby name reveals, nursery tours, day-in-the-life vlogs, and emotional sit-downs about motherhood. On the surface, it's everything you'd expect from a wholesome family YouTube channel. Kass is glowing, the baby is adorable, and every thumbnail screams perfect life. But here's the thing. People aren't just watching Kass anymore, they're watching Josh. Or rather, they're noticing what's missing because something's changed. And not just in the background. It's right there on camera. Josh used to be front and center. He was the steady presence beside Kass. Soft-spoken, supportive, the kind of guy fans described as the rock of the channel. He'd change diapers on camera, crack dad jokes, and give Kass that quiet reassurance whenever things felt overwhelming. They were a team, a unit, and that's what made people fall in love with them. But now, he barely speaks. When he does appear, his voice is low, his face blank, his body language distant. His eyes, tired, disconnected, like he's not fully there. Not emotionally, not mentally. And sometimes, not even physically. It's like he's slowly slipping out of frame, both literally and figuratively. And what makes it worse is that Kass doesn't acknowledge it. She keeps filming, keeps smiling, keeps presenting this glossy version of their life, while Josh fades like a shadow in the background. And for viewers who've been watching since day one, it's heartbreaking. Because when someone goes from joyful and engaged to hollow and barely functioning, that's not just a rough patch. That's a cry for help. And the most disturbing part? It looks like no one is answering. And fans are saying what a lot of people have been quietly thinking. He looks depressed. He doesn't seem okay. This isn't the same guy we watched a year ago. What started as a few subtle observations in the comments section has grown into a full-on online investigation. There's a shift in Josh's presence, not just in how often he appears, but how he appears. His shoulders slump, his expressions are blank, his response is short. Even when something big is happening, like a baby being born, he reacts like he's 1,000 miles away. It's the kind of sadness you don't always notice at first. It sneaks up video by video. And now, people are going back to rewatch old uploads, comparing clips, putting together timelines. One Reddit user posted a side-by-side from early last year versus now, and the difference is staggering. Same hoodie, same house, same lighting, completely different energy. Another fan wrote, "You can literally see the life draining out of him. Like whatever he's going through, it's been building for a while." Others are speculating that Josh might be dealing with untreated depression, the kind that doesn't always look dramatic, but eats away slowly, quietly, the kind that numbs you over time until you're just existing. And what's truly unsettling is that all of this is happening in real time. Not in hindsight, not behind closed doors. It's playing out on YouTube, in front of thousands of viewers who can't help but notice the pain behind the pixels. The consensus? Something is deeply wrong with Josh, and it feels like no one close to him is willing to say it out loud, and here's where it starts to get dark. A lot of fans believe the turning point wasn't something anyone said out loud. It was something deeply painful that got tucked behind the scenes and buried under edited vlogs and upbeat music. The miscarriage. JustKass's. And Josh went public with it at the time, sharing the loss with their audience in a raw, emotional video. But as soon as the video ended, the camera cut, and the music faded out, that pain didn't go anywhere. It just got quieter. Because that kind of loss, the kind where you imagine a future only to have it ripped away, doesn't just vanish. It leaves cracks in places you can't always see. And for someone like Josh, who doesn't seem like the type to process things publicly, it might have been the beginning of something much deeper. A silent kind of grief. One that doesn't always come out in words, but in withdrawal, in silence, in that 1,000-yard stare we now keep seeing on screen. And instead of taking a break, instead of giving themselves space to truly grieve, Kass and Josh kept filming. They kept posting. They kept chasing the illusion of normal, but grief doesn't work like that. You can't schedule your breakdown between uploads. You can't edit out the ache. And when you layer on the pressures of a growing family, a demanding audience, and the pressure to be YouTube perfect all the time, it's a ticking time bomb. For Josh, it looks like that grief turned inward, like he tried to carry it alone until it started carrying him. Then came the speculation, not just about what Josh might be feeling, but what he might be doing to cope. Some fans believe what they're seeing is depression, plain and simple. The heaviness in his eyes, the disengaged posture, the hollow tone. But others think it could be more complicated than that. They're suggesting Josh may be leaning on something, prescription medication, weed, or something else entirely, just to make it through the day. And while these are just online theories, they're not coming out of nowhere. One fan wrote, "It's not alcohol." Their culture wouldn't allow that without serious fallout, especially on Kass's side. But whatever it is, it's obvious he's not okay. That culture refers to their Mormon faith, which strictly discourages alcohol, tobacco, and even coffee. So when fans try to piece together the puzzle, they're looking outside the usual vices. Another viewer added, "This could easily be a medical condition, something neurological or chronic that messes with his energy and focus." But what scares me is how Kass just keeps filming through it like nothing's happening. And that's the theme that keeps coming up. Not that Josh might be battling something, but that Kass is acting like he isn't. Like everything's fine. Like there's no elephant in the room. Even though half the audience is practically screaming. Something is very wrong here. Some have even theorized that it's not just about coping, but dependency. That what may have started as stress relief could be turning into a pattern. And in that kind of environment, pressure, cameras, perfectionism, it doesn't take much for a coping mechanism to become a crutch. And a crutch to become a collapse. And here's where it turns into more than just rumors, because Josh isn't just looking different. He's gone. The most jarring example? He didn't even walk down the aisle at his brother-in-law Trey's wedding. Not a vacation, not a work conflict, just missing. And according to Kass, the reason was vague. Health complications. But here's the thing. No one elaborated. No mention of what kind of health issue. No timeline. No visible signs that he was recovering or even being treated. Just a sentence dropped in the middle of a vlog, then quickly brushed aside. And fans? They noticed immediately. Because let's be real, missing a family BBQ is one thing. But skipping your wife's brother's wedding, where the entire family is gathered, where cameras are rolling, and where every other major player was dressed up and celebrating, that's not something you just gloss over. One fan commented, "If he was really sick, why wasn't there a quick story post? A clip of him resting at home? Anything?" Another added, "It's like they're pretending he's just busy when really he's being erased." And that's what's starting to bother people. Not just Josh's absence, but how it's being handled. The content keeps rolling, Kass keeps posting. Everything feels so polished, but also so controlled. The shots are tighter, the editing cuts faster. Josh is being cropped out more and more. And when someone disappears that quietly, when their face is slowly edited out of what used to be a joint channel, it doesn't look like privacy, it looks like damage control. And suddenly, that health issue feels less like the truth and more like a script. Because when Josh does appear, the videos are edited around him. The focus stays on Kass and the baby. The camera zooms tighter. The framing shifts. It's almost like they're deliberately cropping him out, literally and emotionally. Fans aren't dumb. They see the gaps. They're noticing how a once shared channel is starting to look like a solo project. The vlogs are still labeled family, but they're starting to feel more like single-parent updates. And the silence? It's not just loud, it's deafening. Because while Josh is vanishing from the frame, Kass is amping up her presence. She's filming more than ever, pushing out uploads, teasing new projects, smiling wider, and dropping heartfelt captions like, "So grateful for this season," or "Our little miracle." And on the surface, it's beautiful. But when you really watch, it starts to feel like a performance, like she's trying to convince not just her audience, but herself that everything's okay. One commenter said it best. She's acting like the main character in a movie where the love interest mysteriously disappears. But she just keeps going like nothing happened. It's unsettling because this isn't some character arc. This is real life. And the more Kass leans into the aesthetic of motherhood and family joy, the more it clashes with what we're actually seeing. A partner who's physically there less and less, and emotionally checked out when he is. The baby's dressed in coordinating outfits. The nursery is spotless. The music is upbeat. And yet the energy? It's cold, staged, like we're watching a highlight reel for a life that doesn't exist anymore. It's not just fans being critical, it's fans being confused. How can someone appear so polished while their partner seems to be unraveling right next to them? Some think Cass is in denial. Others think she knows exactly what's happening, but doesn't want the narrative to slip. Because once she admits there's a problem, the brand might break. And that's the scariest part, when the image becomes more important than the person standing just outside the camera frame, silently falling apart. Then came the real turning point. People stopped asking, "Where's Josh?" and started asking why he was vanishing. The conversation shifted from confusion to genuine concern. Fans began connecting the dots between his physical absence, his drained appearance when he did show up, and the unsettling possibility that this wasn't just stress. It was something much deeper. Some believed Josh was in a downward spiral triggered by unprocessed grief, parental burnout, and the suffocating demands of being a full-time content creator. Others felt sure it was something chemical, the kind of self-medication people turn to when they feel like they're barely keeping their head above water. One viewer shared, "This reminds me of my husband after our second baby. He never said anything, but he changed. He started using just to sleep, then to get through the day. By the time I noticed, he was gone. Emotionally gone." Another fan echoed that fear. "Josh doesn't look lazy or detached. He looks like someone running on fumes. And if he's using anything to cope, even weed, daily use plus stress and depression, that's not harmless. That's a mask." And when you stack that on top of sleepless nights, filming schedules, and trying to look like a picture-perfect dad for the camera, it's a setup for emotional collapse. Because no amount of baby giggles or aesthetic B-roll can hide when someone's mental health is unraveling. It's not about drama anymore. It's about survival. And fans aren't just watching for entertainment now. They're watching like they're afraid something serious is about to happen. Because when people stop performing and start disappearing, that's when the truth starts screaming through the silence. And here's the most concerning part. Cass doesn't seem concerned. Even as fans voice their growing worries, she keeps pushing forward, building their family's brand, putting their newborn front and center, even creating a dedicated Instagram page for the baby, complete with carefully curated captions and matching outfits. To some viewers, it's sweet, the kind of wholesome content they've always come to expect from her channel. But for others, it's unsettling because the baby isn't just part of the background anymore. She's the main event. She's the title, the thumbnail, the merch opportunity. And while Cass beams with joy, cooing into the camera, Josh, he's stiff, silent, distant. One viewer commented, "He never really interacts with the baby on camera. Cass does all the talking, all the holding, all the narrating. Josh just stands there, like he's not emotionally in it. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it. The subtle body language, the quick glances off camera, the tight-lipped smiles that don't quite reach his eyes. It's the kind of discomfort that doesn't need words to be obvious. It radiates from the screen." Another fan pointed out, "It almost looks like he doesn't agree with how much Cass is posting about their daughter. Like maybe he wants more privacy, but she's not hearing him. Or worse, ignoring him." And if that's true, it's more than just a content disagreement, it's a fundamental crack in the foundation of their parenting and their marriage. Because when one parent is all in on public exposure and the other is silently resisting, that's not a team. That's a war happening quietly behind curated thumbnails. But let's be real. This might not just be about social media pressure or editing choices. If Josh is really struggling with depression, addiction, or a medical issue, this isn't drama. This is a crisis. And it's playing out in front of millions of people who are watching, analyzing, and guessing. It's not just about where's Josh. It's about why is no one helping him? And now with other family members like Benji and Tiffany heading to Maui, Cass might be left to handle everything on her own. That's not just stressful. That could break everything apart. Parenting alone is hard. Parenting while your partner is spiraling, that's something else entirely. One fan put it perfectly. They need help. Like now. This isn't gonna fix itself. So here's the final question. Are we watching a family fall apart in real time? Is this what happens when mental health takes a backseat to YouTube perfection? Because what's happening behind the scenes could be far more serious than anything they're willing to show us on camera. And if Josh really is battling something this heavy, the silence isn't protecting him, it's just making everything worse.